Last year was one of my most productive years to date, probably my most productive year, and this year I plan and I feel like I'm on track to exceed that, and I wanted to share with you a few of the reasons why I think that's the case. If you don't know me, my name's Aaron Rayford. I'm with Race Marketing and I own and operate multiple small businesses. My passion is small business marketing, promotion, and development. I love sharing what has worked for me and hoping that I can connect with other people and help them along in their journey too. So if you want to hang out, make sure you subscribe so you can stay connected throughout the year. Anyways, in January, everyone's talking about their New Year's resolutions. They're always talking about what they want to do. A couple months go by and their enthusiasm kind of decreases, and sometimes we don't achieve those goals. I started doing something a little bit different with my yearly planning that I think has helped a lot, so I want to tell you. Instead of just writing down arbitrary things that I'd like to accomplish in the year, I've actually started to categorize them into 5 categories. If you've ever heard about the 5 capitals, then this will sound familiar to you. The concept is simple. Capital is not just a financial thing, something that we chase, the dollar signs, but there are other forms of capital that are important to make sure you're investing in. Here's the 5 capitals in my order of importance. I'll list them and then give you a brief description of each of them. Number 1 is spiritual. Spiritual capital is important to me because I believe if you're not aligned spiritually, that will have a lot of other things in your life out of alignment. And so spiritual capital is at the top of my list. The next one is physical capital. If we're not physically well, just under the importance of spiritual capital, then we won't be around long enough to really enjoy the benefits of the things that we worked on each year anyways. Next up is relational capital. Relational capital really boils down to wanting to have people around you that appreciate you and vice versa, people that you can share life experiences with. You could gain the whole world but not have anyone to share it with. And so that's what it really boils down to for me. Next is intellectual. Intellectual capital is growing your mind, learning each year, not growing stagnant. And then lastly at the bottom is the financial capital. Now a lot of people have those in different order. Sometimes people put money at the top of that list. I think that's a pitfall that we should all avoid, because if we put money at the top of the list, then we're sacrificing all those other things. I'm sure I can speak more to that later. Anyways, here's what I've started to do for my goals. In each of those categories, I've started to set goals in those areas, in the order of importance. And that helps me throughout the year to make sure I'm growing spiritually, growing physically, growing my relationships. I'm investing mentally in growing, not being stagnant in my businesses. And lastly, that there is a financial fruit in the efforts of our businesses so that we can keep living those lives and keep doing those things. So planning my goals around those 5 capitals has been huge, to actually care about them each month and actually look at them each month and really be excited about getting across the finish line by the end of the year. Are you ready for the second tip? The second thing that I really feel that has contributed to having a more productive year is understanding the value of time. It may be just because I'm in my 30s now that I've really started to think about every second that we spend and making sure that it's intentional. Whether we're at work, building business, or at home, building family, or any of the other buckets. I've really honed in on the fact that I want my time to be intentional and I want it to be invested well so that I get a high return on investment in the future. I would say before my 30s, I really had a temporal view. I almost had blinders on. I could only see what was in front of me. But maybe just with age and getting a little older, I'm able to look beyond and see what I'm doing today may affect my 5 years, my 10 years, my 20 years. And I have a clear picture of where I want to go. So if you have a clear picture of where you want to go, then you know what you need to do in the present to be able to get there. So what does that look like? Valuing time. Well, I always remind myself and I say, make time for what matters. I even made a t-shirt to remind myself. So if it matters, you'll make time for it, right? A lot of people get caught up complaining about their situation where they are, but they're not doing anything about it. So for me personally, and this is no judgment to anyone else, I watch a lot less TV now. Back in the day, I used to binge watch a lot of shows and be caught up with all of that stuff, but now I just have so many things on the vision board that my enjoyment and my fulfillment comes less from that and more in investing in those things. Don't get me wrong, I love a good movie, I love a good TV show, I like recharging in that way sometimes, but I'm just saying it's a lot less frequent. And when it boils down to it, it's like, how much do you want what's on your vision board? If you really want it, then you will put in the time to achieve that goal. If you find yourself not prioritizing it as much, then it might be that you just don't have the right goals aligned. That's been a big contributor over the last couple years, where I've just started to find enjoyment in fulfilling those goals centered around those capitals. All right, last but not least, number 3. This one is super fun to think about because years ago, I would say this was a huge weakness of mine, and that is staying organized. I would often find myself forgetting things that I wanted to do. Man, yes, I meant to call that person, or I meant to do this. Even double booking myself for things. Oh, I wish I could do this, but I forgot. I was definitely a disorganized mess, and I was just trying to figure out how to conduct myself and stay organized. A couple of things have really helped and contributed to me staying on top of the things that I need to. The first one might sound super easy to you, but it wasn't to me at the time, and that's just keeping a calendar. So all of us have these phones in our pockets, and they come with calendars on them. I never really lived by one. People would say, hey, you wanna do this? And I'd say, yeah, and I try to remember that, and that would work okay for a while until you have too many things to remember. And so living by the calendar has been really life or death in terms of staying on top of things and staying a productive individual. So now when someone asks me to do something or to invest some time, I look at the calendar and I see exactly where I can, and I put it on there, and I live by that, and that has helped tremendously. I stopped double booking myself, I stopped forgetting things, and that was huge. The other thing that has been huge in this category is keeping a list, and this has looked different over the years. It started off with just notes, keeping a to-do list notes, so that when I was in work mode, I could look at that list and go, okay, what do I need to do in order of priority here? But then when you start running not just one business, but another business and another business, and then you have other extracurricular things that are going in, all these different buckets get difficult to manage just on one notepad. So then it moved to a spreadsheet. Keep a spreadsheet because you can organize it, and based on date, due dates, and order of importance. That got out of control too. And finally, I found a really helpful tool that really all of my teams in each of the businesses that we run use. It's actually called Todoist. This is not a sponsored video by Todoist. I'm just sharing it with you in case you find it helpful. Check it out. It's pretty powerful. You can categorize each of your to-dos by your businesses, different buckets, or your hobbies or projects that you want to work on. It's collaborative, so you can tag somebody and say, hey, you're going to do this part, I'm going to do this part. My favorite part about that tool is how smart it is, because I can put on there, oh, I've got a new meeting on the first Friday of every month, and I can type that in, and it will automatically pop up on my to-do list for that day. So I don't have to try to keep it all in here. I can type it in, put it on the list, and check that list every day, and I know that I'm working on what I need to. So that has been huge. I'm super thankful for that tool. Overall, I'm very excited for this year. I know that there's going to be great things accomplished. I know there's going to be great challenge too. But that's everybody, right? That's everybody in the small business world. That's everybody living that entrepreneur life. We all know that there's ups and downs, but I'm thankful that those downs are a little bit easier now due to some of these things. And each year I can build off of the last year, make it more productive, make it more fulfilling, and I hope that you can do the same. If you have any questions or you want to share some tools that you use, leave it in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to try to continue to put out more videos just to connect with you guys and have a community of small business enthusiasts together. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.